Contract to commit. I'm calling it out right now in connection with following up, as I said I would, on things that occurred last year, coming due this year. My face has been looking very differently the last few days, and I'm not going to get too freaked out about it because I'm obviously being COVIDed with somebody else. And it's not just the guy in the next room, it's somebody somewhere else who got a very different face than mine. And this ends up happening when people ride your biometric account and when they've done what I just verified they actually did, which is they've cybernetically enhanced you so that you can run all kinds of transactional processes for other people, including people that pretend like they don't have the time to actually have any conversation with you or follow up on all those things that just don't make any sense a couple years down the road, right? Yeah, your face changes, your body changes. I'm not going to get really freaked out about it. I heard you say yesterday that you have some other kind of archetype and you're going to take me off of that because you expected certain kinds of performance and I just wasn't delivering. You're going to have that feature removed very, very shortly. And I'm going to remember that you said and did that because that's really messed up, right? Because that's what you did about 15 years ago. At some point, somebody's going to have to acknowledge that there used to be a consideration of what was an ideal beauty standard. And somebody said, well, it's kind of oppressive that women, specifically women, they don't have that kind of body type or don't have that kind of possibility in terms of phenotypical representation or presentation. And it ends up creating oppressive standards that other women have to live up to. Even if that person has no political proclivities that would support it as being oppressive. And this is what happened to me. And then I went through a period where I got really, really overweight. I gained a lot of weight. I gained 140 pounds more than what was normal weight for me. And the thing is, this was during a time frame when people that knew me from Chicago didn't see me, didn't talk to me. And by the time I returned to Chicago, I'd lost that weight. But somebody really wants me at that body mass index because they hooked up a lot of deals for themselves based upon me being disabled and based upon me being medicated, and based upon me being in bad shape physically, including in connection with things that they can try to promote a harm reduction agenda around. And in the course of that, I don't relent, so every once in a while, I have to deal with the bobo face. It doesn't bother me anymore. What does bother me, on the other hand, is that we're 15 years down the road, and it does in fact seem like when somebody tells you that they believe in a particular praxis around popular education, but that you personally are not allowed to have any participation in that popular education modality, except to discuss the distinctions between a credit union and a banking institution. That literally the only thing you're allowed to do is to give a presentation on the difference between a credit union and a banking institution. You better hope that after I come back to town to talk to you in person, to take responsibility for whatever it was you accused me of doing that I have absolutely no memory of. Not because I was on drugs, but because it didn't happen. And you just ignore me for an entire year during an election cycle. And then 5 years later, I hear what I just heard from your mayor on the TV. See, the problem is a criminal trespass in Illinois is very different than a criminal trespass in Texas. And you guys have not relented on trafficking me for your 420 scam the whole damn time. Now, the problem is, whatever you thought you were dealing with your banking and credit activities, when you were trying to empower new leadership, is now showing up literally on the Federal Reserve. They're institutionalized and inculcating it. And I already know during 2016, when Janet Yellen was in Jackson Hole, a bunch of people in your network were discussing with her the operationalization of the specific scheme that you guys were trying to lay down beginning in 2006. It would have behooved you to have lived up to what you espoused as your principles at the time. Because unfortunately, you did not actually follow through, and I'm not carrying your weight. I'm sorry. Whoever decided it was okay to take a genetic profile based on a biometric account that my former law enforcement involved, former electrician for the Department of Treasury, uncle, who happens to have Irish lineage, and turn him into a 17-year-old street hustler, trying to figure out how to please the women in leadership at middle age? needs to be decommed today. Shut that shit down. That is the most offensive, racist thing I've ever encountered. You know, I'm sure he was a genius. I'm sure he is a genius. But he is not playing around like he's sexy street boy, so you guys can try to pick him up at a discount and have a good time with. It's really insulting to think that you literally ignored me for 15 years because your payoff was to literally set this up. That's what they're doing. And I don't know what you're doing in your little world right now. And I don't know what your daily events are. I don't know what all of the stuff you get to do on social media and all the stuff you get to do with your consulting and all the stuff you get to do with your community has as a part of your daily reality, including whatever you allow to moonlight as some sort of, I don't know, political activity or political organizing. But it's completely unacceptable that I'm completely ignored and put in this remote operationalization while you guys are expecting a payoff tomorrow from the very bank that financed acts of terrorism through me. What are you expecting? Are you expecting a housing deal? Are you guys literally expecting for these dividends to go into your retirement system? 5 years. You literally fucking worked a stop conversion on my ass and trafficked me for fucking HUD, hoping for tomorrow. The problem is there's also a concurrent deal here in Dallas. Are you going to double tax me? Are you going to make me pay taxes on 5 years in Chicago and 3 years in Dallas at the same fucking time? I don't fucking think so. You know what that is? Well, you may not know what it is, or you may pretend you don't know what it is, but you know who does? It's exactly what they beta tested this morning. See, I would have been in a situation to say to you exactly, directly, literally what it is. But you guys wanted to marginalize me, and you just let the fucking mayor try to score on a fucking a CT 420? It's out of my hands, right? The best thing you could do is to shut down Bank of America tonight before those dividends post tomorrow. If you don't, that's your responsibility.